All right, guys, we're back after talking a little bit of wrestling. Let's move on to a thing that we got heated about this morning, something that kind of caught our eyes as we watch our, at least a show I like to watch when I'm working out, Everyday Struggle. Today,
we're coming back at Everyday Struggle. We haven't talked about them in a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. They haven't done anything ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But today, there was some stuff that I felt needs to be addressed with Complex, with Joe, with Academics, with X. A lot of stuff needs to be discussed right now. And let's get started after I mute that.
Again. Just kidding, I don't really care. So, on Everyday Struggle, let's just give some context, I guess.
Yes.
On Everyday Struggle today, they were discussing some news, which maybe if you don't know, last night, I think it was last night.
Yeah.
Monday. I don't even know what day it is. Monday the 13th.
Yeah.
XXX Tentacion, everyone's favorite South Florida rapper. Just kidding. We like him, but his music, not necessarily his personality all the time. He got on Instagram Live, I believe, and started putting some videos of him up, and he was all bruised and his face was swollen, and he was claiming that he got jumped in L.A. by the Migos outside of his hotel. The Migos and their crew.
Right.
And he was going off. He called takeoff, lift off, which was funny. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw it.
It was very funny. And
he got blood in his hair. Did you see that?
He did. He got messed up. He really got his ass beat. He got his ass beat for sure. But he was claiming that it was the Migos that did this to him. And yeah, he went off on a big tangent on Instagram Live, saying that, they wouldn't fight him one-on-one, that Takeoff ran away from him when he tried to fight him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was losing his mind. But is there any other details we need to go into about that before we go to the Everyday Struggle?
I think the video just released of, at least I know Academics posted it on his Instagram page. I'll show you real quick if I can find it.
Video of what? Him getting jumped?
Yeah, of him getting jumped. That shows him getting beat up.
What?
So here it is right here.
We're watching it live. That's him on the ground?
Yeah. Looks like him and
looks
the
like
guy.
He's humping him.
Looks like the guy up top is a little sus.
That guy looks sus. I don't see any of the Migos. Do you see any of them?
I do not see a single Migo.
I don't see a single Migo. No Migos involved so far. I'm not saying I think he's lying about it. Honestly, I want that. I want that to happen. It's the hyenas, the Migos is hyenas from Lion King.
And X as Timon.
I'm not saying I think X is lying about the Migos. Honestly, it's probably true. They've been known to do stuff like that.
Yeah, especially after the whole Drake thing and the Migos coming to the defense of Drake.
Yeah, it's not that far off for it to have been the case. Plus, there was the whole upside down cross thing with X and Offset. So there's been some history. They also almost jumped Joe Budden on the set of the Everyday Struggle for the BET Hip Hop Awards. So it's not that crazy that they're willing to do that, right? Plus, they've been talking a lot of trash back and forth. So it seemed like it was inevitable. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it's better than the alternative, It's better than somebody getting shot,
Yeah, which we don't want. We never want that to happen at all. So I'm glad. I know. As bad as this sounds, I'm glad it wasn't something as serious as someone dying.
Yeah, he just got punched a few times. And honestly, X, I really like X. I don't know if any of the abuse stuff is true. If that's true, then not the best human being of all time, right?
No.
But I personally, I want to root for X. I do feel like he has a lot of problems, and I feel like he's getting better about his stuff, Recently, I don't think he's been coming out with as much crazy stuff.
Maybe not as much. I mean, maybe behind the scenes that we don't know about, but
who knows? Yeah, we don't know. But I do want to see him turn his life around, so to say, and, stay out of trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't want to see him get beat up. But to be totally honest with you, the guy does talk a lot of trash.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes if you're going to talk that much shit, you kind of deserve to get punched every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's the old saying, talk shit, get hit.
Kind of, yeah. So let's move into the everyday struggle discussion,
Yes.
all right? So I'll let you give some background on this one.
All right.
Clapping it up.
So, if you guys don't know, on the Everyday Struggle, they had a couple guests. I think it was Berg, and who else was it?
A1.
Producer A1. So, some good producers there on the set. They go into the topic of X. Academics is talking at the backstory about it, talking about, what from X's perspective and how he's feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, when Joe starts to talk about it, he goes on this, I would say,
like a tirade.
Almost as worse as the time he went against Lil Yachty. I would say maybe this is worse.
It's probably worse.
And basically, he just went at Ack for doing his job.
Literally doing his job.
I mean, he basically just called out Ack for reporting this kind of street talk on Everyday Struggles, saying that you're not supposed to really be reporting this or saying anything really about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to, keep quiet. Like, the OGs are supposed to mentor him, or, he's supposed to go into an OG to talk about this kind of stuff that happened to him in terms of getting jumped.
Yeah, for X.
For X.
And he also, before that, was saying, he was kind of making fun of X, right? Because X put up a video of him supposedly chasing down Takeoff as Takeoff was running away from him. And Joe Budden is he's like, that wasn't even a speed walk. He wasn't chasing anybody. He's kind of making fun of him, kind of calling him a pussy, right? Yeah. Which is incredibly hypocritical, because what did Joe Budden do on the set of the BET Awards? He got a little scared, and he walked away from the Migos when they were kind of starting to come at him. If I remember correctly, that's kind of what happened.
At which point? At the point where Joe Budden throws the mic away and then walks off?
Well, yeah, where he walks off the set. He kind of left because the Migos were getting a little up in arms with Joe Budden.
I wouldn't say that. To Joe's defense, I think he was just sick and tired of hearing about them, because they were kind of being... I like the Migos, but they weren't being very interesting in that interview. They never really give interesting interviews from what I've seen. So I think Joe, being as extra as he is, he decided, that love and hip-hop shit. He decided to just throw the mic and walk away, and the Migos took offense to that, and then that's when they started, to beef up. But I don't think I wouldn't classify Joe as someone who runs away.
Yeah.
But the real issue I have with them, or not the Migos, but Joe Budden, is that this talk he had, especially against academics, is something they could have had in the back. I don't think you bring it up on TV in terms of calling him out in his news reporting.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of where he's calling him out, his point is just dumb. He's saying, you're not supposed to report this stuff, but academics is a reporter. Why do you think he's on the show? That's what his job is, to report hip-hop news. And XXXTentacion getting jumped by the biggest rap band at the time, or right now.
Yeah, the rap group.
Rap group, not a band, biggest rap group at the moment. That's giant news.
Right.
So for Joe Budden to get so up in arms that academics is interfering with the streets, so to say.
Yeah.
It's what are you talking about? What's your point? Academics is not, he never claims to be in it,
Exactly.
If anything, he says the exact opposite. He's just reporting the news, and he talks to these guys to get the news scoop.
I mean, it's basically just E-News, basically, with celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
It's that with E-News. It's TMZ. I mean, academics is doing his job, and people are interested in looking at his numbers. There's a lot of people interested in what he has to say and how he reports the news.
People watch those academics videos a lot more than they watch Everyday Struggle, and any Joe Budden album has streams. Nobody's listening to Joe Budden more than they're listening to academics. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of a mute point, a little dig, but...
Just making a point.
But I do think it's hypocritical of Joe Budden to say that, because he is on a complex news show, or I guess it's talk, just regular talk. You're talking about street shit sometimes. I mean, we got the stuff with who just got shot recently on who was it? Was it Boosie? No.
I don't know. Is it the academics report on it?
They talked about someone getting shot. I can't remember who it was.
I'll find it. Keep going. Though.
But anyway, so they talk about, some street shit, because that is some street shit. Or even just this Meek Mill thing.
Yeah.
With Safari.
Yeah.
Which is almost like, it seems like it's Safari 2.0. With X and with X and the Migos.
Okay.
I just think it's one of those things that's also some street shit that you probably shouldn't have talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But it made the news and headlines because, to everyone's credit, X put it out publicly so that everyone could see it.
Yeah.
So I guess you could be mad that he snitched, if you want to call it snitching. But also, it's the same thing with like Safari getting beat up and saying it publicly. It's funny to some people, but to Safari it probably wasn't funny. It's just some street shit that we're not street, so obviously maybe we don't know the rules.
I mean, I understand what he's trying to say, but he's coming at it like it's... his point is just not... It's like nonsensical. He's thinking of it of like, these dudes are actually like gangbangers,
Yeah.
But they're not. The Migos aren't, I don't know what they do in their free time, but I'm telling you right now, they're that rich. They're making music. They're not worried about the super street stuff. That's why they weren't even the ones punching X. They probably told their boys to do it, And X is a little crazy, but I guarantee you he's probably not doing anything super, super crazy on the side either,
Mm-hmm.
So for him to say like, oh, X is snitching on them, he didn't go to the police, right? So he's not snitching, first of all. He was just saying like, I just got jumped by these dudes. And he's telling his fans that happened, I don't feel like I just think he's like so off base, like out of touch. You're telling I think it's so crazy because if Joe Budden had got jumped by the Migos, is he really not gonna say anything?
Oh, it was Young Dolph.
Young Dolph.
I'm pretty sure he's the one that got shot. Yeah, so they talked about Young Dolph because I think he has beef with I can't remember who he has a beef with.
Young Dolph die?
No, he's fine.
Oh, he just got shot a couple times.
He just got shot a couple times, and got shot by Yo Gotti.
Is that true?
I don't know if it's true or not, but that's kind of supposedly. So that is some street shit, which they reported on Everyday Struggle. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me that you're gonna be mad at academics for doing his job by reporting news, when you in fact do the same thing. Talking on Everyday Struggle. It's hypocritical. And I also didn't like the fact that on that Today's show on Everyday Struggle that they didn't let academics talk when he was trying to say something. I know Nadeska was trying to, say, hey, let's let Act talk. Mm-hmm. But, Joe was having none of it, and the two producers who didn't add anything to the commentary, they didn't say anything. Or they talked over academics, which is disrespectful in my opinion, especially... Now that academics has been brought into the loop of Complex, he has a voice. He has the power. Most of the people that check out Everyday Struggle are his following. Mm-hmm. But they just want to disrespect Act like that. I know Joe Budden's of that old school mentality sometimes, but...
Well, let's take it back to... Let's go to Young Berg, all right? He's one of the guys on this Everyday Struggle. And he had a moment where he tried to, embarrass academics, right? That's kind of what was going on. Like, they're trying to embarrass him and make him look like an idiot. Right. Like, that's the gist of it. Young Berg has been embarrassed by other rappers and musicians multiple times in his career.
Right.
He was slapped by Mano in the face, and he didn't do shit about it. That happened. There's other stories. I'm not going to go super deep into it, but I just find it really ironic that you have these guys... Who even is thinking about Young Berg right now? Who cares what he has to say? And he's on the show, and Joe Budden is friends with him. And then these two dudes think they're so cool that they're gonna just embarrass academics and make him look like an idiot. And you're not part of the street shit. You don't know what you're talking about. Stay out of it. Don't talk about it. That's snitching. It's like
rap has evolved.
These guys are. You're talking about a reporter who is a social media reporter, right? Academics is not a traditional reporter. He reports news that happens from Instagram Live Snapchat, all that kind of stuff. And guess what? He's really good at it. He's really, really good at it. There's a reason he's so popular. It's because he gets news way faster than everybody else. And then you're kind of like, they're all taking shots at X too for calling the Migos out. That's not snitching. He's doing what any 19-year-old kid who has Instagram Live and is that famous is going to do right now. Yeah. They're going to get on Instagram and talk about it. That's what his thing is. It's way out of touch. Way out of touch. It's got me heated.
Yeah, I mean...
Young Berg robbed again, this time by a UK rapper. I mean, this guy is not that street either. He's getting beat up everywhere he goes, and he's trying to act like he's the toughest dude in the room. Stop yourself. To be fair, he's probably tougher than DJ Academics, but who cares? You're on the set of a show that has a really high budget as far as internet shows are concerned. Mm-hmm. Let it be that. It's a show. You guys aren't that cool.
Yeah, I just get so frustrated with it because hip-hop has evolved into a thing where it's no longer a... I mean, it is a street thing. There is some street hip-hop, of course, but these guys have grown up in a non-traditional way with this mumble rap group where it's like a very different style of rap. And those guys have a different style and different upbringing in some aspects.
Well, this is the last thing I want to say on the topic because this really is incredibly annoying, this topic. Mm-hmm. Not for the fact that we're talking about it, but just for the fact that we have to talk about it, I feel like. The Migos jumping X, right? It was definitely their idea. I'm sure they had some part in it happening, right? They're part of this mumble rap battle royale. There is no way that they didn't want people to find out that it happened.
Exactly.
So for Joe Budden to get so in his feelings about this happening and DJ Academics reporting this, you don't think that the Migos themselves are going to be like saying like, yeah, we just jumped X, you know? Look at what we did, you know? Not like we did that, come arrest us kind of way, but they want people to know that happened or else they wouldn't have done it. Because who cares if they jump X and nobody finds out? That's the point of doing it, is so people say, oh, X just got jumped by the Migos. That guy looks like a clown now. He just got beat up by all those dudes. And then on top of that, the person who released the video, I just found out, the video of X getting jumped, was one of the affiliates, like a well-known affiliate of the Migos. So they put that out to people. How are you going to call X a snitch and say Academics is reporting stuff he shouldn't be talking about? It's foolish. They don't even know what they're talking about.
No, I think Joe, like you said, is out of touch. It's very old school hip-hop rules in a new school way. Of course, you want to keep some of the rules, but it's free game now. I mean, there's different types. There's different styles. Reporting has been different with this new social media wave. Rappers want to show off. They want to like, some of these rappers like to show what they've done, whether it's, the money phone, the beating up people, jumping on them. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you could say that the whole rap community now, this new wave of rappers, are snitching on themselves.
It happens in all their songs, everything.
So, I just think we're getting to a point where it's not slick anymore with the rap groups. I think, or just not rap groups, but just rap acts. Mm-hmm. Because they want to let you know what they did.
Yeah, it's like it's the equivalent of like it's a public media event when the Migos jump X, That's like a publicity stunt at this point. Yeah. That's what they're doing. It's to get their names in the news and make sure people know, like, hey, everybody doesn't like XXX Tentacion right now. Guess what? The Migos were the ones who beat him up, That's the point of it. They're not just like, do you think the Migos and X really have some deep-seated beef between them? They don't even know each other. There's no street, like, trouble or problems between them at all. Yeah. It's social media beef. That's why it's in the news. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's useless. It's just lame. It just looks corny. And Joe Budden, I like you, but at some times you can do some stupid ass shit. And this was one of those stupid ass shits that I can't be a part of the the wave of Joe Budden here. Like, I can't be behind him in his stance because it just makes no sense. And you also kind of, I'm not gonna say you made academics look like a bitch, but you definitely, he's your co-host. If there's some beef going on there, you do it behind closed doors. I think it's one of those, I'm just going to say, if you have an issue with academics on this reporting thing, if you feel a certain type of way about it, talk to him before you go on the set and do it.
Or at least just get your facts straight. At least get your facts straight.
Well, even if you don't get your facts straight, just do this behind closed doors because it's just a lot better so academics can be ready to rebuttal you. I'm not saying that's, you got to do off the fly and all that stuff, but let academics have a chance to talk instead of just being one-minded, lane, and don't even focus on, don't let anyone else talk. It's just one of those dudes that's just the loudest in the room. I'm the loudest, I win.
Yeah.
Lame.
Joe Budden looked real corny in that video. You need to chill yourself out, dude. Take a step back and think about what you're actually talking about. You look like an idiot. Enough said from me.
Yep, and that's all I got to say as well. Let's move on to
Let's move on to something happier. Woo! Lighter news. Let's talk about some Star Wars. We've actually never done it. We're finally going to start delving
into the Star Wars hype train.
I don't know if our fans know. I'm a giant Star Wars fan.
That is.
Absolutely diehard Star Wars fan. I have Star Wars tattoos.
Star Wars boxers.
Star Wars boxers, Star Wars shirt on, Star Wars hat. I'm all about it, all right?
Star Wars condoms.
So I felt like as a start... I want to talk about The Last Jedi, all right?
Last Jedi, okay.
Just because I feel like I'm going to start putting up more Star Wars content. Hopefully maybe one video a week on Star Wars. But I wanted to talk about The Last Jedi because we haven't had a chance to talk about it. We just kind of haven't to this point.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about some other Star Wars related news, which is the new trilogy that they just announced. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see that? So Rian Johnson, who is directing The Last Jedi, they just announced that, Disney just announced that he is going to be directing a whole new trilogy that's not related to the Skywalker saga.
Okay.
But it's completely new characters, and it's going to be him writing and directing all 3 movies.
All right. Do you know when it's taking place?
Every clip.
Oh. Every clip's going to have one. But was it, is it like based after?
They haven't said any details.
Okay.
Which is why I wanted to talk about it. Because I wanted to talk about, I don't know, you're not super deep into the Star Wars.
No. I mean, I like to watch it, but I'm not like a hardcore fan where I would know everything.
All right. I am. So, I'm going to tell you what I want it to be, and I want you to tell me what you think of it. All right?
So this will be like a point from like my perspective as a casual fan.
Casual fan, all right? So,
I'm a mark.
I want them to take it back to the Old Republic, all right? Which is well before all the stuff in the current movies.
Okay.
Like thousands and thousands of years before that, all right? When you had like the Sith were an actual like there was many of them, not like
just
2.
one.
Yeah, not one or two, right? So before they instituted now I'm looking like a Star Wars noob over here.
Yeah, looking like me.
They instituted like the rule of 2. There you go. That's what it's called. Darth Bane instituted this rule where there was only ever supposed to be 2 Sith at a time. Okay, so I think that if they went way back and there's a ton of Sith and a ton of Jedi, it would make for an incredible trilogy that we haven't had a chance to see anything like that in an actual movie yet, where you have like actual giant battles between thousands of Jedi and thousands of Sith warriors.
Okay.
What would you think about that?
I think it would be actually pretty cool. I don't know if this would be related to what you would think, but I think it would be pretty cool to go back to the time when it was like the first Jedi and the first Sith Lords.
That would be funny. The guy makes The Last Jedi, and then his next movie is called The First Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, I would just like to see the history of it because I'm kind of curious because of how much past there is with with a lot of the Siths, how it's passed down and all that thing. I would like to be interested to know, were these guys kind of like the Sith and the Jedi? Were they both at one point like together and then they sort of fell apart.
So, I mean, I kind of answer this. Like, at one point, the Jedi were around before the Sith.
Right.
And at a certain point, a certain Jedi, I don't know if there's an actual name for this character, but he decided that he was not okay with the Jedi's teachings and that he felt like he thought he was different than them, right? So he went to this certain planet. I can't even fucking remember the name of it. But he goes to this planet and he starts essentially what it becomes the Sith, and he trains them using the dark side of the Force.
Okay.
And then you have the Sith, but it's branching off of the Jedi. Like they used some of the Jedi teachings and then turned it for their own use. Like new stuff and then used some of the old stuff and changed it to their liking. So that's kind of how it originated. But I think like if you go back to that point or even a little after that point, some of that stuff is much more interesting than what we have in the current Star Wars landscape.
Yeah.
Where you have like there's points in the Star Wars timeline, which at this point most of it's non-canon.
Mm-hmm.
But there's points in like the old extended universe where there's Sith sorcerers and people who are capable of like destroying planets and solar systems with just the Force. Like they don't need big bases and the Death Star to do that, which is crazy compared to the level of power that like the Jedi's in all the movies we've seen, like the live action movies we've seen so far. That's much more impressive, obviously, than anything they've been able to do. Mm-hmm. So I think if you could convey that in a cool way on the big screen, that's incredible. The other thing I would like it to be is maybe it isn't even revolving around the Jedi or the Sith. They're just like background characters, you know? But you have like, not necessarily Boba Fett, but a character similar to Boba Fett where it's like, he's not a Jedi, he doesn't have the Force, but he's just like trying to make a name for himself in the galaxy.
Right.
And then it's his trilogy. Like, I think that would be really cool too. You're not following a Jedi or a Sith. It's just that the events revolving around those two groups of people kind of influences the story a little bit.
Yeah, I guess.
But we get other stuff. I think like that's the greatest mistake that Star Wars they haven't made a Boba Fett movie yet to this point.
Yeah.
Or just gone into that universe of like the Blade Runner style of like setting where it's like dark, dingy alleyways and stuff like that. Because that's like, there's so much you can do with Star Wars. It's not just ice planets and all sorts of shit like that.
Yeah.
But that was what I wanted to start with. I want to talk about the Last Jedi. Obviously, a lot of discussion has already been had on the internet of what is going to happen, what the plot is going to be. Mm-hmm. You've seen all the trailers, right?
I think I've seen one or two of them. I don't
like
know
you've seen the most recent one.
Yeah, I've
right?
seen the most recent.
All right. So what do you have any guesses as to what is going to be the case? Like what's going to happen?
I just think I really have no idea because I mean I've watched obviously the last movie before it. Like I said, I'm going to sound like a noob. I don't remember the first new one that came out.
Force Awakens?
The Force Awakens. I've seen that. I just think maybe Rey, I think maybe she turns.
You think it's going to be her that turns?
I think it's going to be her that turns.
I'm almost certain that Luke Skywalker is going to have an evil turn.
An evil turn?
Which I'm not obviously the first person to think this or even say that on the internet, but I have been saying it ever since I watched The Force Awakens. Ever since I saw the end of The Force Awakens, I had a great deal of speculation as to the fact that Luke Skywalker was going to turn evil, and I really think it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I think the whole plot, like we've had hints of like why Kylo Ren left or Ben Skywalker left Ben Solo, excuse me. I always call him fucking Ben Skywalker. That's a character in the other books. But Ben Solo, there's all sorts of speculation as to why he left the new Jedi Order. Mm-hmm. And I think it has to do with like the fact that he could see that Luke Skywalker was turning.
Oh, okay.
And he left to go to the side of the dark side so he could learn possible, powers of the Force so he could defeat Luke Skywalker. Like I think he's still good. I think he did like a double agent move where he went to the First Order to side with Snoke so he could learn from him so he could eventually be the one who defeats Luke Skywalker because he's evil.
Oh, okay.
That's my speculation as to what's going to happen.
That'd be actually pretty cool.
And I think he wants like there's a reason like he doesn't kill Rey in the First Order. Like I think he wants Rey to actually be like the last Jedi. Like he's not a Jedi at this point because he's already done too much evil stuff and he knows how to use the dark side. So like I think he wants her to actually be a Jedi, but he's gonna do the dirty work for her, so to say. Yeah. Kylo Ren, that is. I think that'd be genius.
That'd actually be pretty interesting because I know Mark Hamill's come out and said that he wished Luke Skywalker would have turned in the old movies.
Yeah, I think they heavily hinted at it in Return of the Jedi, where he like goes and kills Darth Vader essentially. He doesn't really kill him, but you know what I mean. He kind of does. But he goes to the Death Star and he's in his all black outfit.
Yeah.
And he's just like no nonsense and he's like, trying to kill them.
Yeah.
So I really do think like the seeds were planted all the way back then for him to turn evil. And I think like maybe there's still part of him that's good and that's why he like secluded himself on that planet on that one island all alone. Like he didn't want to do evil shit anymore.
Yeah.
But he could feel the dark side taking over.
Yeah. It's going to be a good movie either way.
It's going to be fucking incredible.
The real question is Porgs going to be more annoying than Jar Jar Binks?
Probably not. I would be really happy if they did the whole Jar Jar Binks is the actual like the Sith Lord. He's Darth Plagueis.
Yeah, that'd be so dope.
That'd be incredible. I would be so happy if they did something that crazy, because it would be that'd be the biggest twist ever in movies.
That'd be the biggest troll.
Even though people have suspected it, like people are kind of hypothesizing that that's the case. If they actually changed the whole story from the prequel trilogy to be the fact, or they say like, yeah, that was George Lucas's plan was to turn Jar Jar Binks evil, that's the fucking best thing that's ever happened in a movie. Because everyone hates him. He's got that go away heat.
I mean, he's basically in that Roman Reigns situation, turn him heel.
Turn him heel, and he's the coolest dude on the roster, you know? Jar Jar Binks, get that evil turn, dude. We need it. At least just bring him back and have him be evil. That's what I want.
What is the point of Porgs? Like, what is he just like comedy relief?
Comedy relief, 100%. He's not going to be an important character.
Like, what? I mean, I'm not saying that you don't need comedy relief in the movie, but why create a character just for that situation if it doesn't fit in? Seeing the trailers of this Porg character, I just don't see it. I see another Jar Jar Binks type of character where you just want to punch him in the face.
I just don't think he's going to be in very much of it, which was the problem with The Phantom Menace and Jar Jar Binks. Like, he is literally the focus of I just watched that movie again.
He could have been in the Darth Maul scene.
That movie fucking sucks. Like, it's so hard to watch. Like, Jar Jar Binks really is incredibly annoying to watch on screen. Not even annoying. He's just like, it's so like...
Go away heat.
It's just difficult to sit through.
Yeah, I mean, he was almost in every scene. I mean, the only scene he was probably missed was the lightsaber scene, and even then, they probably somehow scripted him in.
Yeah, he was out like swinging around on the tank barrels, remember? And he like killed like 45,000 droid units on his own by accident. So dumb. But that would be a great plot. Like, he looked like he was doing shit on accident, but he really was. He was badass, and he was actually killing all those droids. That's dope. Anyway, guys, that's what our first Star Wars segment. If you want us to keep talking about Star Wars, please let us know. If there's any Star Wars topics, I'm very well versed in Star Wars. I know a lot about it. If there's anything you want to hear me talk about or ask my opinion on, feel free to. I love talking about Star Wars. But I think that's going to wrap up the Gimmick Cast, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything else to talk about. Of course, we got some stuff next week. Mm-hmm. Next week, look out for the Undertaker, Brock Lesnar stuff that we were discussing earlier in the wrestling talk. But other than that, guys, this has been your boy Pete. I'm Bernie, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.